Hey, how you doing? I hope you're well. I'm Deanna and welcome to my channel. June was a month that happened and I think I was a little burnt out, so I didn't really do much, but we are feeling extra motivated and I figured I'd come back with the mid-year freak out book tag considering we're in July already. Cue the obligatory sentiment that I cannot believe that we are already halfway through the year, yada yada. I will leave the original creators of the tag below, but without further ado, let's jump into the questions. First question, nice and simple. How has your reading for 2025 been? And it's been pretty good. I think I am on track to have my best reading year ever, which is quite nice. As of the end of June, I had read 93 books. My overall Goodreads Storygraph goal is to read 100, so I definitely will be ticking that off sometime this month, which is very exciting. Now, looking at my other challenges that I have, Hayden had picked 7 priority series at random for me to finish. This year, of the 7 series, I've finished 2 and made progress in 4 more. For Romanceopoly, I've completed 15 of the 20 standard prompts and 5 of the 16 bonus prompts. The buzzword reading challenges that are created by Books and Lala, I am very much behind. So for the reading challenge with the titles, I've read 2 of 6. And for the buzzword cover challenge, I've read 4 of 6. So behind, but I'm hoping July to catch up on these challenges, catch up on arcs, and just, catch up and get really set for the rest of the year. Having a look at my advanced reader copies, that's also something I'm very conscious of. I'm very luckily been sent a lot of review copies and I'm feeling a bit behind. I have been sent 42. I have read 29 and reviewed 26. So that's going to be a big focal point for the rest of the year. Next question is, what is the best book you've read so far in 2025? So I have read 26 5-star books. So it is really hard for me to just pick one. So I'm going to go with a nice, roundish number and give you my top 5 so far. So they are Once Upon a Pack by Ari Wright. This is a sweet Amigaverse. I completely adored this one. It has a Cinderella vibe to it. So we've got this kind of modern day royalty retelling. So Ivy believes she is a beta and is currently working for this pack of royals who have been basically called into line by the Crown Prince Ash's parents to say, hey, you've got X amount of time to find your Omega. They treat her like crap. They do once things unravel, grovel, and it was just super sweet and I completely adored this pack. It's magical. It did give me those kind of feelings of the Princess Diaries and I completely loved it and I cannot wait for book 2. The next one is Whisked Away by Alona M. Douglas. This book is absolutely chunky, but I absolutely flew through it. This is a fantasy romance Omegaverse and honestly, it has one of the most lush, complex worlds I've ever read in any fantasy, full stop. And we have the added bonus that is an Omegaverse. We are following Princess Rhi, who is a late presenting Omega. So her whole life has been thrown into shambles. She was going to marry her childhood sweetheart, who is a ambassador, get to travel the world and get this freedom. And in an instant, her freedom has snapped away from her and she has become a political prize and a bargaining chip. Her parents throw a tournament, invite all the eligible alphas in the land, in her hand in marriage will be the prize, all in hopes of securing an alliance for this small island country. The princes of Asdia, which is this desert land, arrive late, and that is Prince Alan and Prince Alaric, and they are completely captivated by Rhi. They join the tournament, they do their best to win. However, Rhi is feeling caged and her autonomy and her individuality has been stripped away by this new identity of being an Omega that's been thrust upon her. So she makes a snap decision to run away. Betrayal happens and she ends up lost and stranded, and luckily the princes go and find her. And it is completely amazing. Very swoony Omegaverse romance. We've got courting, which I personally love. This is an MFM. The princes are half brothers, so nothing happens between them, but they do have a very spicy sharing heat scene, which I love, and I'm very excited to just read anything else Alona M. Douglas writes. And the next book is coming out shortly. It will be interested to see how this plot set up about what's happening to these Omegas that go missing continues and unveils in the sequel. I then finally picked up Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, and honestly, I have no idea why it took me so long to read this. This is told in an epistolary form, and it is told in a journal form of Emily, who is is working on putting together an encyclopedia of fairies. This is an alternate world where fairies are real, and she is a dryadologist and she studies fairies, and she wants to be the first person ever to compile all known fairies into an encyclopedia in hopes that she'll be able to get tenure and secure her academic career. It's set in the 1800s, so it has that kind of charming historical vibe. Emily is quite fixated and very driven on her project and not super good with social settings. She ends up in this little village which gives me the vibes of Iceland. I cannot pronounce it to save myself. And she is hoping to find the last little bit to close off her encyclopedia. However, her rival, Wendell Brambleby, decides to rock up and co-chair her exhibition because he has done some creative research which has landed him in some hot water. And he is hoping to piggyback off the back of Emily's encyclopedia in hopes to kind of clear up his name and get some funding so he can go on a mission to find a door to an Irish fairy kingdom. And I love this. Wendell definitely gives me Hal vibes from Howl's Moving Castle. He is overly dramatic, doesn't particularly like to put any effort in, and I just love them. You can tell Emily sees them as a rival, but even though it's told mostly through her letters and her journal as she's going on this exhibition, you can just tell he is completely besotted with her. And yeah, I loved it. I've read the second book. I have got the third one to read, and I'm really hoping that this isn't the end of Emily and Wendell, but if you're in the mood for a cozy fantasy with a very sweet romance, I couldn't recommend this anymore. The audiobook is also fantastic. I read them together, and throughout, I should say, what particularly gets me and what I love is that even though it's a journal of what's happened day by day for Emily, she is very studious, and any kind of reference she makes to research, she puts in a little footnote, and that was so much fun to read. Then I have Be With Me by Gabriella Sanz. No surprise, Gabriella Sanz will most always end up on my favorites list. She is one of my all-time favorite authors, and this is the first book in her House of Ferraro series, which is a dark mafia romance. I didn't think I was going to like this as much as I have liked the Fallen series and the Fallen Gods series, because I didn't particularly like the Ferraros, but tell me why. This man, Rom, has literally become my favorite book boyfriend. And he is the kind of fixer of the family. His role is to find information, blackmail, and keep the family's best interest at heart. And at the moment, they're in a bit of hot water, or at least the whole underground is in hot water, as this politician is running for office, and his whole shtick is that he's going to clean up the New York streets and crack down on organized crime. So Rom has been tasked with finding a way to break the campaign and break people's trust in him, and he finds a way through the daughter, Mia, who is a stylist, but because her father's campaign has taken over her whole life, her stepmom is quite ill, so she has to be the person to stand with her father in all kind of aspects of the campaign. Her business is suffering. I just love them together. At one point, Rom does want to stay away. She's seen as this pure goody two-shoes, but he sees her at a conference and realizes that she's not taking care of herself, and no one in her father's office gives two shits about her. So there's this moment where he's like, well, I guess if she's not going to take care of herself, I'm gonna do it for her. And it's just got this swoony star-crossed lovers Romeo and Juliet vibes. We have chronic illness rep in here, and I completely love it, and I'm very excited for the rest of it. But this might just be my favorite book boyfriend, especially favorite of Gabrielle Sanz. And then last but not least, I have Just Drive by Devon Sinclair, and this is a Formula One Omegaverse, and I know nothing about Formula One. I know very little about any sports, but this book is everything. I am literally hooked on it. You can tell the love that Devon Sinclair has of the sport. It just, again, I know nothing about the sport, but I feel like I could understand it. And we're following Vanessa, who is the first ever female Formula One driver and the third ever Omega. She's given a shot as a kind of backup driver at the previous season for an ex, or his teammate's sick and the backup driver is sick. And she's basically told to just survive. Don't do anything stupid. Just get the car across the line. It's like the last race of the season, so the podium and the championship is pretty much already won. But just don't embarrass us is essentially what happens. And she absolutely smashes that goal and ends up 7th, which means she gains points. The first 10 drivers get points. And with that, she grabs the interest of Paragon, who are looking to sign her. And everything is kept all hush-hush, and they only announce the drivers a couple of days before preseason starts to keep the media storm down. And it is then at the press conference, she discovers that her team principal, Grayson, and the mechanic and the head engineer are her scent-matched mates. However, their pack also includes River Daniels, who is the reigning champion and driver for a rival company. And it is them trying to navigate their new relationship, and also Vanessa just proving to the world that she deserves her spot on the track. And I loved it. Vanessa is someone who has had to tamp down her like feminine omega instincts to fight for her place and space in a male-dominated world. And it was just wonderful to watch her realize that the guys were a safe place to land and safe place to explore her omega side. And yeah, I just freaking loved it. It had all the feelings. I was laughing one minute, bawling my eyes out the next, and would really love for more books in this world, or I just want more content from these characters, because read this in like a couple of hours and could read 500 pages more. The next question is best sequel you've read so far in 2025. Again, I'm going to give you a few options because I am me and I'm predominantly a series reader, so I have read a fair few. First off is Secrets of Mine by Alexis Grace. This is the second book in her Of Mine series, and we're following Freya and the rest of the special crimes. I want to say it's the special crimes unit of the FBI as they track down her father, the crosscut killer. And it was so good. I'm not going to say much about this, but I'm completely obsessed with the series. Criminal Minds is my all-time favorite TV show and my comfort TV show, and this book gives me all the vibes. And it is a why choose, where Freya is dating the entire unit of FBI profilers. We have River, Ox, Jude, and Eli. Things take a personal turn in this one. We have so many twists. Like the end of this one, I was like, wait, what is happening? Darkness of Mine is coming out later this year, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And I think once the series is complete, I'm going to go back and reread it all, because I know that Alexis Grace has probably put in all the clues that I need to solve it, but I'm just like eating this story up and just fully in it and living it out with the characters that I've missed all those clues, and everything has been amazing. You need to read it. If you are into dark romance, romantic suspense, why choose? This is top tier and you need to read it. Next we have The Vampire Castle in the Sky by Iris Lake, and this is so beautiful. This is the second book in her Tales of the Faraway North series, which has this kind of like whimsical Studio Ghibli vibe to this cozy fantasy world. And this one takes a bit of a darker turn because we do explore grief, and it was just so beautiful. There were like literally passages of this book that I just wanted to highlight, and everything just resonated so well. So we are following Thea, who has gone back to the castle in the sky, and Hector, after finding out that Hector's parents had passed away. Hector's mother found the castle and has become head of the vampires, and through her leadership, the vampires have kind of been able to be seen as more than the abominations and monsters in the night, and have been able to set up their lives and are no longer hunted. Hector and Thea grew up together. Hector himself is a half vampire and has been left this castle. He doesn't really know what to do. He's still grieving over Thea and how she left, and how they left their relationship when she went off to marry the man that her parents had set her up with, because she was looking for security. And it is just completely beautiful. The pair are kind of thrown back together. Very quickly there is like a summit of the vampire lords, and she's not supposed to be there because no humans are supposed to know the ins and outs of vampire culture. So they make up a lie on the spot that she is his wife. And from there, she gets thrown in. They're trying to fix the castle. The castle is also not acting like itself. It's quite moody and depressed. It's this kind of whimsical castle that will follow your every whim, but it is mourning the loss of Hector's parents as well. And there is this like crazy murder mystery, and it's still wrapped up in this kind of like poignant exploration of grief and what it means to overcome that, and also this stunning second chance romance, and I completely adored it. Next we have Her Tortured Beast by E.P. Barley. This is the fourth book in her Feral Beast series, and I cannot say anything about this book except, boy, did we hit the darkest point of this series. If the title of it is anything to go by, yeah, that one held no punches. Again, I am absolutely obsessed with this why choose bonkers shifter world, and that ending has left me, I don't even know, like I just feel like every time I read these books Miss E.P. Barley seems to be leaving out pages and she just ends them, and I just need to know what happens. I have no idea what's going to happen to Aurelia. There are some groveling that one of our characters needs to be doing. He kind of started it, and we get a little bit more into his backstory and understand why he did the things he did at the end of book 3 and throughout this book, but he has a long way to go, and not only to Aurelia but to the rest of the guys. And yeah, I do not know where this series is ending. I do not know how the 5th and final guy is going to be able to come into the fold, considering he is like morally pitch black. And I just have so many questions. I really hope that the 5th book isn't the last book, because I might cry, but we'll see what happens. Her Monstrous Beast is the next one coming out. These books are crack to me, and they are phenomenally done. So if you're into a dark, why choose bonkers, just paranormal romance ride, I feel like you need to start with the novella. And also I think the novella, Her Vicious Beast, is going to be a great way for you to test if this is something for you or not. But it's amazing, and I cannot wait for the next book. And then last sequel I'm going to give you is Would You Die With Me by Ally Cannon. This is the wrap up of her Artificial Suicide duology. This is a dark rockstar romance, and this one broke me. We're following Kai and Noah, who grew up together. They are childhood sweethearts. They started a band together. Something tragic happens to Kai, and Kai loses his father, and things go on a spiral turn with his relationship with his stepmother and stepbrother, and he implodes and just goes on to this kind of I don't know what the word I want to say, but like he's into drugs. He's doing everything to kind of harm himself and also find dangerous ways to deal with what's happened to him. The first book was told all in Noah's point of view, and this book we get Kai's point of view exclusively. He is grown up a little bit. He has sobered up, and the band he is in are dealing with a bit of a PR disaster as their lead singer has been arrested and charged with sexual assault. The band have a big tour coming up, and so they need to find a new lead singer. The studio wants them to get on the front foot of this and just move forward and show the fans that they're a united front and they can continue without this dirtbag lead singer. And so they audition and enter Noah as their lead singer. We get a lot more music in this one. They're on tour. The healing that these boys do, it just broke my heart, and anything Ally Cannon writes, I am excited for. I think she's taking a bit of a turn from her rock stars for her next book, but she just really dives into characters beautifully and their exploration of trauma. She does deal with trauma a lot, and addiction and abuse, and she does it beautifully. And the way that they healed, like it hurt, and it hurt a lot through most of the series, but the HEA was so worth it, and it made it all better. We also get a beautiful cameo from the bands from her Behind the Lights series, and it was just amazing. Next question is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. We'll be continuing on with my theme of giving you multiple books. First one is The Final Tour by Lucifer. This is the 3rd book in her What Happens on Tour series. This is a rockstar romance which follows predominantly Brax and Charlie, who got together in book 1. This follows a Australian hip-hop band called Abandoned Bygone. I am addicted to these characters. The banter is phenomenal. It's chock full of music, and this one they're going on a national tour. So they're going to the capital cities. I've heard Melbourne is definitely included in this. Thanks, Lucy. You're a real one. And I just need to continue on with these characters because she has not only put out this book, but she's also put out Fan Favorite, which is the 4th book in the series, and it's a bit more novella length, and it follows a character we meet in here. And I think the rest of the series kind of spins out into his band, because at this point, Abandoned Bygone, we have got the other boys in the band's romances budding alongside Brax and Charlie. So I'm excited to be back with these characters because I love them so much. Then we have The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. She sounds like she's going to be the author for me. She writes this beautiful gothic romantasy, and this one sounds amazing. We're following Sybil, who has spent 9 years dreaming of having no dreams at all. She's a diviner, and I love the Diviner series by Libba Bray, so I'm hoping it's got that kind of historical gothic vibe to that particular magic system. She's nearing the end of her service when when a mysterious knight arrives to the cathedral, he is rude, heretical, and devilishly handsome, and he has no respect for the order of the diviners, which feels more like a nunnery, and no respect for Sybil's visions. But as the diviners begin to vanish one by one, she's got no choice but to seek his help in finding them. And I've read the first page of this when I picked it up to decide between two books, and the writing style is fantastic. I'm excited to jump on the hype train with this one because I think this is going to be such a me book. I do love a cozy romantasy, and so I am excited to get to The Baby Dragon Cafe by A.T. Qureshi. All I know is that we've got a woman who owns a dragon cafe, like you'd have a cat cafe, and she's not expecting owning this cafe to be as hard as it is, but with the baby dragons setting fire to things, she's really struggling to keep her business afloat. And then we've got Hayden, who is a gardener and the local heartthrob, and he is having trouble with his baby dragon and keeping it, from misbehaving and staying away from the plants that he owns, that he ends up asking Sophia to help train his dragon, and in turn he'll pay her for that, which will help keep the business afloat. I love this idea. From the sounds of it, everyone just has a baby dragon. I want a baby dragon. Whatever town this lives in, I want to move there and get a baby dragon. So excited for this one. I think this will be perfect when I need like that cozy pick-me-up. And then last but not least is a book that I pre-order, which I hardly ever pre-order books, but it is The Never List by Jade Presley. All I know is that this is a Why Choose Bachelor fantasy romance, and I mean, look at this. You're invited to the choosing where you could win the heart of not one prince, but all four. I just need to know what this is, and I think I'm going to absolutely devour it. That's all I know, and I'm excited to go into this one a little bit blind and just see what happens. Next question is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? Let's keep on brand and give you several. First one being Atonement Skies by Nalini Singh. This is the 24th. I just counted my Nalini books. The 24th book in her Side Changeling series. I never want this series to end. Anything Nalini writes, I will be there. I will read it on release day. I've already pre-ordered my audiobook. Don't know what it's about, but I know I'm going to love it. Next, we have Darkness of Mine by Alexis Grace, which I mentioned is the third book in her Of Mine series. I don't know if this is going to be the final book, but I am dying for it. I have my fingers crossed, praying to all the old gods in the new that Alexis Grace sends me the arc. Otherwise, regardless of that, I'll be picking it up the first chance I get. Then we have A Storm in Every Heart by Kate King. This is the second book in her Enchanted Legacy series. I really loved the first one, which was A Thorn in Every Heart, which is a Beauty and the Beast and Anastasia retelling. And this one's going to be a Little Mermaid and the Princess Bride retelling, and I just need that in my life. It's also a second chance romance. We met the two characters in the first book. I just need to know what the hell is going on with them because there is a lot to work through. Last but not least is Not Just Friends by Allegra Hall. She is publishing this like serial form on her Patreon. She's taken some time off at the moment because she's on mat leave or coming up to going on mat leave, but this is her first Omegaverse, like full Omegaverse, and I have been loving what I'm reading so far, so she can take all the time she wants to release that. I do hope that it's going to be out by the end of the year, but if it squeezes into next year, I will patiently wait for that one. Ooh, next question is biggest disappointment of the year so far. There's only really one I can think of. That's Ruins of Starlight by B.C. Vajon. And this one had been on my radar. I had seen like the trailers for it, and I signed up for an arc like late last year. And it's supposed to be this like dark romantasy, and it was fun. I enjoyed it, but a lot of shadow magic. It's one that it took me forever to read. Like I had every intention to read it in February for Pharaoh Feb, and it was coming out on like the 1st of March, and I just finished it in May. Thank God for the audiobook. I don't know what it was that just wasn't hooking me in, and it's now been like two-ish months since I finished it, and I can tell you like nothing about it. So I'm not sure if I'll continue with the series, but overall I was pretty disappointed. Next question is biggest surprise of the year. I guess I'll go with Storm of Shadows by Hannah Hayes. I requested an arc because it's a paranormal romance set in a magical school, and you know that's like kryptonite for me. And she was going to be at Babe. She had to pull out due to, personal circumstances, but I'd still read her, and the way she just absolutely hooked me in. And then I binge read her other series, the Arrowheart Academy series, which was a 5-book series, in like a week. I think that's been the biggest surprise, that she's been an author that I've just absolutely clicked with straight away and have just been binging her back catalogue. I have now since finished 7 of her books and cannot wait to read more. She's also got Omegaverse in her back catalogue as well, so I am going to dive into that as well. But I think she's been my biggest surprise. Which ties in very nicely to the next question, which is Favorite new author that's new to you or debut author. I don't really track debut authors, but I do track new to me authors. So I have read 26 new authors this year, which is about just under 30% of my overall reads of the year have been from new authors. So some standouts have been Hannah Hayes. Completely adored her. She just writes my brand of why I choose paranormal romance. Next we have Iris Lake. She has had this like absolutely beautiful, whimsical, cozy fantasy romance, which just feels like a warm hug. And both her books, The Little Shop of Grand Curiosities and The Vampire Castle in the Sky, have just been beautiful. Her prose is stunning. I need to dive into other series, but she has been a highlight author for me. Another one is Shona Knight. She reached out to me after seeing my review of Alexis Grace and said, hey, I've written a dark Why Choose romance which has romantic suspense Criminal Minds vibe with the Shattered Silence duet, and boy is that one dark, but I was absolutely captivated by this world that she'd written. And I've recently just started her new book, which is Stranded, which is a Why Choose Tarzan retelling, and really enjoying that. I'm just loving her writing style, and I just know once I finish this duet she's got a fantasy romance series I'm going to dive into as well, which is all Why Choose. So she's going to be a go-to Why Choose author for me. Then we have Ari Wright, who wrote Once Upon a Pack. I cannot believe I hadn't read her before. I do have an ARC copy on my TBR, which I really need to get to, but she just writes my brand of Amigaverse. It's sweet. It's Why Choose. We've got fully fleshed characters that feel individualized, and am excited to dive into more of her work. Then we have Elizabeth Dare, and I read her Dylan St. James series and absolutely love this. We have a bit more of a darker Amigaverse world, which explores gender identity and prejudices surrounding that, but she also has this like super impressive female main character who is an Amiga who does her best to try and save other Amigas from toxic and abusive relationships, and she ends up crossing paths with a pack who realize that the story that they've been told that they want this kind of docile, fragile woman is wrong, and they completely love the strength in her. And very excited to get to the spin-off female main character in that one. We've met, and she is also ballsy as hell, and then she's got like a dark academia Why Choose as well. Then we have Jamie Applegate Hunter, who's written Viciously Yours, and this is a pen pal fantasy romance, and the way that this man is like unhinged but also golden retriever, to the point where she gets a bit jealous that someone had touched him, so he gets a knife and scrapes off that part of the skin to be like, see, I don't want it to upset you. And she was kind of like, that's weird, but also like kind of hot. Love that. And excited to continue on with this series. I'm not sure what else she's written, but I'm very much enjoying her fantasy romance. And last off, we have Alona M. Douglas. Again, this is the best world building I've ever read. Like, this is the first book in the Jewels of the Nine Kingdoms, and you can tell the differences between the kingdoms from like what resources they have, where they are in terms of like power in this economy, what their cultures and customs are, how different they are. You can see inspirations she's taken from like our real world, but twisted it to fit her own world, and it just feels so like lush. Like, I can imagine if I asked her what the tax system was in one of these kingdoms, she'd be able to tell me. And you know, what their imports and exports are, like she would know, and she'd be able to tell me. Like, I just trust that this is a fully fledged world, and on top of that has this very swoony Amigaverse romance. So absolutely besotted. And this is a debut book. I should say this is a debut book. Like, this is nuts to me that it is so good, and I'm just excited to see what she writes next and where her career takes her. Next question is newest fictional crush, and I think I do love a kind of over dramatic hero. So at the moment, I think my newest crushes would be a tie between Apollo from The Little Shop of Grand Curiosities by Iris Lake. He is a prince. He does kind of give a mix between like Wesley from Princess Bride and Hal from Howl's Moving Castle, and I completely love him. And Wendell Bambleby from Emily Wilde, because he is, again, super dramatic. When he rocks up to this small town and sees this like little shack that she's living in, is just outraged at the fact, and there's no like creature comforts, and every time she has to trek out to try and find these fairies that she's looking for, he kind of sighs very dramatically and is like not into any kind of hard labor. But when push comes to shove and she ends up trapped, despite his nature, he does go through all that effort to rescue her. Even if he does bemoan doing so, he does do it, and I love him for that. Hello, editing Diana here to pop in and say I cannot believe I forgot to mention someone, specifically someone who I gushed about earlier in this video about how they were my new top book boyfriend, and that is Rom. from Be With Me by Gabriella Sanz. To add on to what I said earlier on, I just love the way he is with Mia. He kind of has this very gruff exterior and will grumble at her until she does take care of herself and make sure she's not burning herself out or flaring up her chronic illness. And despite his darkness or perceived idea that he is tainted, which once you find out his backstory is so sad, he will do anything for Mia. In particular, if you read it, that final scene, that final like grand gesture scene gets me every time. So yes, Rom from Be With Me is definitely on the list. Next question is a book that made you cry, and that hands down has to go to If I Would Have Known by M.K. Vindictive. I bawled. I wasn't expecting this. I saw that this was a rock star meets hockey star romance, and I thought that sounds like fun, but boy, did I sob my eyes out. This is another book that does deal with grief. Our female main character, who is the rock star, Ophelia, is dealing with some crap. She is at the top of her industry. Her boyfriend is a complete jerk. She catches him cheating on her. Her mother belittles every little thing she's ever done, even though she is like the most successful person and woman in her industry. Her mother will belittle her career choice, her looks. She's curvy, so her weight is often brought up, and she needs to take a little break from the world and ends up with her brother and her best friend, who is her brother's wife, and they're about to have a baby, and she just recenters herself, gets time to like pick herself back up and then put on her big girl panties and ready to take on the world as the fans demand that she tours relentlessly and releases music. Things take an absolute pause when a tragedy strikes her brother's family, and she ends up moving in with him while he copes with that, while also dealing with her own grief. And there she meets Rook, who is the newest signed defenseman. I should mention the brother is a hockey player, and he has just recently joined the team, and he is dealing with his own childhood trauma, and these two kind of broken people find a safe place to heal. And man, I was not expecting the emotional punch this had, and am very excited for the next book in this series. Next question is a book you saw on TikTok and regretted reading. No, I don't think I have regretted anything I read. I guess I did see one that I signed up for an ARC for, which I thought was going to sound amazing. It had like time travel, and I'm obsessed with time travel as a concept. So I saw it was like a romantasy with time travel. The promo looked great, and I signed up for an ARC for the second book, and they gave me the first book of Ice and Villains, which was by Veronica Lancet. I got about 75% in this book, and I just thought, I don't give a fuck. The main character, yes, he is a serial killer. He's supposed to give like Dexter vibes, but being in his head and realizing that, yes, he has no emotion, that's like the whole vibe of him, but he didn't have any redeeming qualities and was actively doing stuff to manipulate the female main character. Not great. And then the female main character had like zero agency. I couldn't even finish this book on audio. I think I had like 2 hours left, and I was like, no. So yeah, really regret picking this up, but it's the only book I've DNF'd this year. I just couldn't. It was not for me. I'm sure it has the right target audience out there, but this book definitely was not for me, and I'm sad about it. Most beautiful book you bought this year. I've bought a lot of books because doing that makes me happy. I'm gonna give you 3 special edition sets, and we'll go from there. So first one, I technically think this one's cheating because I didn't buy it this year, but it arrived this year. Does that count? Maybe. And that is the Book Crates for Days special editions of the Make Games Death series by Kay Lorraine and Meg Ann. I completely love them. So we have Haunting Beauty, Haunted Beast, Hateful Prince, and Heartless Villain, and I think they are just incredible. We had like these matte black foiled dust jackets, this completely like artworked foiled naked hardbacks. We've got the male main character on the back, and to make it even better, there are some Valium overlays, but the book is in dark mode and has dark pages. So yes, definitely these, and I'll give you a look at some more of the art, because whoever they got to do the art on this was absolutely phenomenal, and I think captured the characters perfectly. So absolutely loved this, and will be on the lookout for whatever special edition sets the Book Crate for Days does, because they are amazing. Next, I picked up the special edition series of The Cozy Verse by Emily Emerson and Ileana Lee. I will say that these two books just got picked up traditionally, which is fantastic. I think this is the first traditional Amigaverse that has been picked up. I know Lana Ferguson, Fake Mate, and Bride by Ellie Hazelwood were kind of light in Amigaverse, but this is like the first full-blown Amigaverse to be trad pubbed, and it's amazing. So I'm really hoping they do special editions for the spring and summer books, but we have a pack for winter by Ileana Lee and a pack for autumn by Emily Emerson. And I think these are just absolutely stunning. And yes, do not judge me. I will be buying a copy of both of these once they come out traditionally, because I want the publisher to realize that people do want to buy them and hope that they publish more of these ladies' works and pick up more Amigaverse authors, because we need these books in our lives. And then speaking of Ileana Lee, who I just love and adore, I got to meet her at Babe, which was just so much fun. The next beautiful book series I have is her Fake Rate edition of the Bond's Disillusion series. They did an absolutely phenomenal job. We've got a slipcase. And again, I'll just give you like a quick tour. So that's The Heat of Us, which is Hazel's book. And then we have The Scent of Us Part 1 and 2, which is Juno's book. You know, we've got the peaches. There's quotes on the back. We've got limes. Another quote. And one of my favorite features, I mean, we've got artwork, character artwork. The imagery here is like the scent of the pack, which I just think is a nice touch. And Fake Rate always do such beautiful edition with their Opus collection and just in general. So just beyond excited to have these in my collection. There are so many more beautiful books. So if you want, I'll leave a link to my 2 hauls that I've done so far this year, and you can see some of the other pretty editions that I bought this year. Why hello there, it is Editing Diana back with question 14, which is what other books you need to read by the end of the year. Can you tell it has been a hot minute since I've recorded anything, since I completely missed out an entire question. So as I mentioned earlier, I really want to keep on track of my ARC copies, so that's a big goal of mine, but otherwise my main books that I'd like to get to for the rest of the year are those as part of my priority series list, which Hayden helped pick for me. So of the 23 books that he's picked, I have since completed 10. So on the screen there, you'll see all of them, and those that are blacked out are the ones that I have read, and the ones in color I still have to get through. So 13 to go. I think that's pretty doable for the end of the month, end of the year. I know there's some chunky ones on there, particularly looking at Sharon Penman's Plantagenet series. I am about halfway through Time and Chance. It's taking its sweet time, no pun intended, but it is a bit more of a dense historical fiction, so I'm just enjoying going through it at a leisurely pace and absorbing that one. And yeah, I think if I can knuckle down and make some smart choices and prioritize these, I should get them all ticked off by the end of the year. So this here is my priority TBR for the rest of 2025. Moving on to some more like content-y questions. I've taken the questions from Gavin Reads It All adapted. And the next question is favorite video you've made so far in 2025. I've really been enjoying working on my Completion Chronicles series. So that's a series of vlogs that I've been doing where my focus is to finish series off. So that's been a lot of fun. I do need to get better at vlogging at events, as evident by my ultimate book video for Babe, but I am really proud of my ultimate reading video that I did for A Romantic Affair, which was a lot of fun. Next question is a video you thought would flop but did well. Nothing really so far. I've just been enjoying the whole process of creating longer form videos and posting them, and just really thankful for like any views that I get. I know my vlogs don't do very well, but it's something I enjoy making, so I'm just going to commit to making content that I'm having fun with and see what happens. Is there any upcoming videos that I'm excited to make? I have so many videos that I need to do, like wrap-ups and hauls and stuff like that, but one video I am looking forward to is, I was supposed to be up in June for Pride Month, but I am doing like a queer TBR swap with Connor. He is going to give me recommendations of some queer books that he thinks I would like to read, and I have combed the internet and sourced some romance and genre fiction, because he doesn't really read genre fiction. He's more of a lit fic kid. So try to see if he likes any of those. So that will be coming up, and then we will come back together for Ozpride in February and give a wrap up on our thoughts and feelings. And then last but not least, we have any channel goals before the end of the year? Not really. Personal goal, I would like to be a bit more consistent. And I think with my work-life balance, I've just started a new role. I'm on a new secondment, so I have a little bit more of a work-life balance. So I think I should be able to fit in all the stuff and things I need to do, like writing reviews, filming and editing videos. So I would like to be a bit more consistent, but I would really like, I guess, channel goal-wise to reach 500 subscribers by the end of the year. I think that'd be cool. So that is my mid-year freakout tag. It's probably a little bit longer and I will never not be able to give you multiple choice answers for this tag, but comment down below and let me know how your reading year's gone so far, or let me know what your most anticipated release is for the second half of the year, or you can leave me a peach emoji for the scent of us. If you'd like to see more content from me, please like and subscribe. I'll be attempting to post new videos every Sunday. Linked in the description box below will be links to reviews if I have them, along with links to my social media channels if you'd like to talk to me or follow me on any other corner of the internet. Anyway, that's all from me today, guys. I hope you're doing all kinds of well, and I'll speak to you soon. See ya!